Good morning, everyone. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I stand on existing protocol. It's great to be here. I came in at 6:55, and I was amazed to see a number of people. I think at that time there were about 50, and as the hours went by, seeing this number of people, it just says to me that everyone is hungry. Our youths are hungry, and applause to Prince Andy for putting it together. Slide, please. So I'm not too sure why Prince has decided to put me to speak now on section, because he knows how passionate I am with cyber security and IT security, IT in general. I do talk a lot, so I think you want me to keep to time, But that said, let me just go through my presentation. It's really kind of difficult when you talk about cybersecurity, but I'm glad it kind of zeroed it to me in terms of producing this slide, in terms of startup. So, show of hands. I know some people are students, everyone might be, but who has a side business? Who has a side gig? Businesses. No one? Yeah? Excellent. And Dr. Shea has spoken a whole lot of things, but I'm just going to zero down into the cyber element when you're startup, and what you should really be looking out for. Next slide, please. And the next one. Next one, please. Next slide. This is very important. I think Dr. Shea talked about, LinkedIn and profile, etc. So usually, from a security perspective, when I talk and address, I need to let you know that it's my own, information. It's my own thinking, you should just be very careful. And I'll give you an example. There was a client of ours, one of the staff came for training, and it was along the lines of default password, and you change it. So, and I said the default password should be password, and he literally took that to heart and changed the password, the default password to password. So when they had an audit, they picked that up and they said, oh, my, trainer or something said the default password should be password. So we need to cover our back because I was pulled out by the, auditors. Next slide, please. And the next one, I'm just going to, next one, please. Okay. Quiz 1. So what is common to, in this picture, in this slide I've shown, can someone just tell me? Sorry? Some. Oh. No, what is common in the images? Sorry? No. They all what? Sorry? I think, no. Basically, they all have had cybersecurity breaches. So I tried to make it difficult, but also, I didn't want to add some of the Nigerian stuff, but I added Konga, and I thought maybe you would know. UPS have been breached, Yahoo has been breached, data leak, where people steal their data. So generally, there's a lot that happens in this space. Can you go back to the previous slide, please? Sorry. And one more. Yeah, okay. No, I think that's it, yeah. So generally, we're talking about cybersecurity, and cybersecurity just really looks at protecting your information. Now, it's slightly different from IT when you look at the whole system, but cybersecurity looks like data, etc. A whole lot of your aspect of that, from unauthorized people accessing it. So you have a door, you haven't given someone a key, someone goes into your house and steals something, But how do you now protect that? Cybersecurity is like having a security or a dog or something, just to protect your asset. Now, in terms of, when I was putting this together, I was thinking, and that's what I suffered, and that's what a number of people do, start up and have their own small to medium businesses. Cybersecurity, the key things, it's around building trust and reputation. So if you get hacked, like the previous slide I've shown you, reputation is damaged. No one will come to you. No one will want to trade with you. And it's very difficult. Yes, there might be cybersecurity insurance, which we'll talk about as well, but it can't get you back your reputation. The insurance might help you to get all your hardware and everything, but once you get hacked, you won't probably want to do business with me. So there is business continuity as well. It's very critical. So if you do have a cyber breach, how do you continue to work? And obviously, we're talking about data, people's data, and I think Dr. Shea has talked about a number of things in data. Next slide, please. So usually I tend to give some stats. I don't know if you can see very well, but the top left, I didn't change the data. This was going back 2020. We're now in 2024. But I will give you an example of one of them to see, what has changed. So the first half of 2020, there was about 36 billion records of data breaches. Now it's about 200 billion, right? We don't want to talk about Nigeria, but I'm sure you know a bit more. So it takes about 207 days or so to know that you've been breached. You've had an incident. So people stay there, the hackers stay there, and they observe, etc. One more. 68% of business leaders feel that cybersecurity risks are increasing, and definitely they are. Now, imagine you start up as a startup. You're looking for marketing, you're looking for sales. You're trying to grow your business, and cyber hits you. I've seen organizations that once they have a cyber security breach, the business is gone. They can't recover. So again, some common myth we hear, and I've spoken to a number of small organizations. They say, oh yeah, it can never happen to me. Oh, I'm a small fry. I'm not a big guy, They only go about the big people. The small ones are the best targets because you're in volumes, in numbers. Someone is designing a website or something, I can steal their data, I can steal it across, rather than target maybe British Airways. That will probably take me longer, but I can take, Some people say that, they can spot a scam, phishing, as we know, ransomware. And recently, there was a phishing, targeted to an executive director It was spear phishing. That's when you target, someone in an organization. And man, that was, the email was fantastic. We had to get a guy from Poland who is a pen tester for me to write an algorithm, AI. And they used AI. So sometimes it's no longer the bad grammar or spellings that you can see and you know about. 86% of Nigerian firms fall victim to cybersecurity. That is high. And they're not even reporting it. So in startup, you have to really consider cybersecurity as well as all the things you're doing. Next slide, please. So I guess you guys are familiar with this. Some of you might not be. I think last month there was a cutoff that you have to register. But please, as a startup, in terms of cybersecurity as well, know your laws, regulations. In the UK, once a data breach occurs, and you have to notify the normal body, within 72 hours. If not, the fine is serious. And I think similarly, NIDA is doing that. Now, gone are the days that, an engineer or poses something, or a staff poses something, and they sack them. Now, directors are liable. In the States, he was the managing director, and the security officer gave him some few things, and he said, this is the issue we have in this organization, we have to fix it. He just ignored it. But they had a breach, the MD was fired. So right now, please, any data you work with, protect it, like encryption, etc. If anything happens, NIDA will come to you. You have to explain, and you have to, again, the cost of that. Your business might be crippled. So really think about cybersecurity, and obviously the whole of IT in general. So the hardware you get, your server, are you doing patches, etc. Next slide, please. So I'm just conscious of time. Startup, they have a number of challenges and risks. As well as, like I said, you look at your marketing, your income and expenditure, etc. On cybersecurity, a whole lot of the challenges and risks. And one of the key ones is, like I've noticed, is that business try to scale very rapidly without proper security measures in place. So they're making money, they want to do things, and they're forgetting about cybersecurity. Supply chain is a good one. Vendors. So you go and buy, from vendor, they can't get to you, they go and use that vendor to connect into your system. Training, lack of awareness, it's a big issue. And next slide, I'll talk about that. Dedicated staff, IT staff. Some people think they can do it. So for example, I look at contracts, but from a security perspective, I'm not a lawyer, but we can put in the relevant controls in that contract for cybersecurity. Because your IP, your intellectual property, it's very important to you. It's your copyright. How do you protect it? There was one vendor back in Abuja, he does renewable energy, and he spoke to a vendor, they took all his details, and the contract was not worded properly. And those guys took all their details and they re-engineered it, big data, and they were selling the information. And this guy, knew. And they went to look at the contract, and it was like, yeah, you told us that we can have your data and keep it. That was money on its own that they used. So, again, we need to be very careful. Next slide, please. I think I've talked about this basically, but ransomware. I'm sure a number of people would have heard ransomware. Yeah? No? Yeah? Okay. So basically, they kidnap you, they ransom you, you say you pay, to get your data back, and they tell you that you can pay by Bitcoin or something else, but it doesn't work. Never pay. Never. Because they already have your information. So if you pay, they'll do it again. Phishing and social engineering. Insider threat. Another example, a friend of mine, his staff went out with his data. He was a key personnel. So he stole his data and he left. And I think he went to contact one of the other customers on that list. And that guy called my friend from the States and said, XY has left. Why does he have my data? So that, my friend, did not have the right controls on safeguarding people's customer data. Very, very important. People, you have to make them aware, train them. It's constant. People are generally the weakest link. So you need to keep training, especially when it comes to cybersecurity. Processes, very good. How do we do this? How do we do that? Have you established it? Technology, what are the technologies you're using? So, these are 4 things I've just put in there. There are loads of it. So, but make cybersecurity, one of the important things is make cybersecurity core part of your business strategy. So when you're doing your marketing, you're doing your finance, etc., have something to do with how you're going to address cybersecurity. You might be selling something online and you have a website, web store, and then you're collecting money. So what is your cybersecurity strategy? Basic measures, like I said, password policies, backups. Are you taking backups? Are you keeping them? Are you testing them? So if you have an issue, can you recover quickly? Next slide, please. So I'm just concluding. So I guess for me, it's a collaborative effort, and 2 or 3 things I put here is like, if I don't personally know anything, I go to an expert. I might have an idea, but finance, for example, is not my good side, I'll look for an accountant. So for cybersecurity as well, just partner with experts in that field. Seek guidance. That's why we're here. That's where you have a lawyer, looking at real estate papers, contracts, etc. For small to medium businesses, startup as well, you join communities. There are communities, LinkedIn, you have cybersecurity for small to medium businesses. iSecure Data have developed a toolbox which just helps small to business, looking at your security. You might be a one-man band, you might be 10, but we look at how you're securing your data. Government, and I think NIDA is one of those key things. They do training, etc. So just please look for the right information, and just earnest, and they're there. And as Warren Buffett said, and we all know, it takes you X amount of years, to build up a reputation, etc. But if you have a cybersecurity issue, 5 minutes, done. 5 minutes, done. I've seen grown men cry in the UK. Grown men that had businesses for about 30 years, 40 years, because they had a ransomware attack or their data was stolen or corrupted, just even corrupted. They didn't have backups. It's very critical to. So I can only say we are all targets. We have our mobile phones. You know, some people download different things on their phone. As he said, we can't do. I have all my banking, everything. So what am I doing? How am I protecting? You know, a lady was telling me that, okay, I don't want to get involved, you know, but she was telling me that her husband is always, you know, two-factor on the phone, biometric and everything. And I just said to her that it's the information. He has a lot of information on that phone. So if it gets to the wrong hand, it's devastating. So we don't ring bells, you know. Attackers don't. They will just come in at any time. And that's it. Thank you.